my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso on SABC3. It's Braai Friday, which means we focus on all things braai related, all the things that make South Africa's favorite pastime so extra delicious. And so we brought in the very expert himself, Mr. Theodore Gelderbloem, specialist butcher here with us to take us through some of the best meat cuts. But before we get to that, that's like the end goal of it. Before you do that, you first need to have a great fire, and it's a very, very simple thing to do these days. So you can use wood or charcoal, whatever your choice may be. I prefer to use these big pre-wrapped fire lighters. You just get it right in there. Well, in my case, you can use your big mega lighter. Get it lit up right there and stack your charcoal on top of it, and that will surely give you a great fire for your braai. As easy as that, right? Because there's no point in investing time, Theo, in all of this great meat, but you have a weak fire. You know?
True.
And people like to talk about braaiing or cooking on the fire. You never cook on a braai, you braai on a braai. And so, when it comes to the perfect kind of meat, Theo, what exactly are we looking for in a meat?
You look at texture,
Yeah?
quality, and the maturity of the meat.
Yeah, and I guess also like the amount of fat around it
That's
as well,
the thing,
that
yeah.
determines the flavor. So take us through what you've brought here.
Okay, so what I brought here is a piece of ribeye steak. You got your ram steak, sirloin, fillet, and then you have your T-bone, which is the best of both, fillet and sirloin.
Okay.
On one piece of meat, just the piece, that's the bone dividing the two.
Is that what it actually is? So
Yes.
fillet and sirloin combined actually make up the T-bone steak?
That's the thing.
Boom, okay, all right. And then what else?
Okay, then what else what we have is a piece of white meat, that is pork neck.
Yeah?
Excellent also for braaiing.
Okay.
What the best thing to look for meat, especially in beef, ask always the butcher, maturity of the meat, how long did you hang it? That's the best part of it.
So you always ask about the maturity of the meat. So
Yes.
this is when it comes to the red meats over here, right?
That's the red meats, yes.
And when you ask a question like that, the maturity of the meat, what should you be expecting your butcher to tell you?
At least over 10 to 15 days.
Over 10 to 15 days.
Yes.
Is that what allows it to really kind of rest and get into
That's the best part of
get
it.
into its own? So when it comes to red meat, what kind of questions should you be asking there?
Red meat, what is your tender piece of meat? Tender piece of meat will be your fillet. Normally what they will also ask is dry, which piece of meat is the driest?
Yes.
That will be your sirloin, that's why we always leave a little bit of fat on there.
Oh, yes.
The other part will be your ram steak, which is closest to your sirloin. And also leave a little bit of fat on it, so when you braai it medium rare,
Yeah?
your fat will give that little bit of moist inside the meat. When you cut, your knife will just glide through the meat.
Oh, man, this is all sounding good. But you haven't mentioned these two that we have in the front.
So
Tell me about that.
The other two that we have in front, that is your chuck and that is your brisket. Not good for braaiing. Mostly what I would say is that is for stewing or braising
Okay.
inside the house. But most of the people would like that as cheese and yama.
Yeah, but I was about to say, that's like a chisanyama meat, Baba.
That's a cheese and yama meat, yeah.
But, come on, like, what do you say? So wait, are you saying, like, as we do at Chisanyama, you should rather actually be using these kinds of meat than the chuck and the skillet, the brisket?
Yes.
Well, there you go from the expert himself, the do's and don'ts of meat on the braai, what to choose. Now, we have a very stunning competition for you to win a big hamper that consists of a big apron, a big mega lighter, a box of 24 pre-cut, and a box of 16 individually wrapped big fire lighters, and a braai kit as well. What you got to do is SMS BIC to 33728 to be entered into that competition, and all of these goodies could be yours. Sir, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Much appreciated. Will you be braaiing this weekend?
No, man.
You probably see meat every single day, so it's okay.
So
I
true.
understand. All right, now we're going to be making some lovely marinades for the braai, and let's see what Sia can do.
Bic, ultimate fire starting solutions.